And we are live. Welcome,
Yay.
everybody. We have the one and only Mike Roberti. He's foolish enough to come back on our show. He clearly must have forgotten what it was like last time, or else he was really drunk and we just didn't notice. Welcome,
Just
Mike. How you doing?
I'm doing good. How are you guys?
you just make a lifetime of bad decisions, don't you?
I really do.
So, Alex is here, and Reed was actually here early. So,
Ooh,
Wow,
thank you,
look at
Reed.
that.
look at that. So, I want to take us off the rails immediately.
Great.
Just
Before
start early today, yeah?
before we even talk about your books. So I asked you this off camera, but when you're writing a really tense scene, I know that you are a driver's ed instructor. Do you
Which
just
goes
laugh
back
at
to
your
the poor
characters?
decisions.
Or do you just laugh at them, going, huh, "This is not scary. Get into a car with a 16-year-old. That's scary."
Honestly, there's probably a lot of similarities between a sword fight and going 60 miles per hour down the road. And honestly, this is the crazy part. Sometimes we train these kids at 14 and a half. That's the youngest you can be to do driver's ed.
Oh God, 14
Yeah,
and a half
14?
14 and a half. That's the legal age in
and a
North
half.
Carolina. Yeah, the 6 months is key.
That's amazing.
God, 14 and a half. So they're what, like eighth graders?
Yeah, you can be in eighth grade, and that's the earliest you can be in driver's ed.
Oh God, how are there people alive, kids alive in your county?
I
Right?
I don't know. There's some kids where I'm like, hey, good job. Glad you're driving well. There's other kids where I'm like, hey, let me know when you get your license so I can make sure that I don't end up on the road.
I guess some of those places they need to drive so they can take their wife places, but you know.
Uh, so he's talking. EL's talking about your grandmother's curtains behind you. Um, and,
Yeah, come on, man.
and I forgot to ask if you had copies of your book handy, but you're a pro, so I'm assuming you do.
I am like notorious for not having any copies. I have a bunch of copies on the way for when I was doing that pre-order. I got my map. I'll do my map as my background. But I like my grandma's curtains. My wife actually picked them out. There we
So
go. My map.
just so you know, I just wrote a comment in there to Tim McKay. I said elbows up, Tim McKay, and YouTube rejected my comment. That's messed up.
Ugh. So now they think that a host is a spam bot, which honestly, for us,
It wouldn't
might
be
be.
far off.
um,
Unbelievable.
Tim is not the only one that doesn't know where the elbows up came from, but
He doesn't know where.
and EL likes grandma's curtains too. So there you go.
They're pretty. They get the job done.
I just want to take a moment really quick to thank EL. Uh, I did, in fact, EL, get a copy of the book that you sent me. My wife forgot to give it to me. She's had it for a couple of weeks. And I went home last weekend and there it was. So thank you very much. I appreciate that. Did not get lost in the mail. It got lost in the spousal distribution of stuff.
So Mike, how many books do you have out now? Look at this
3.
package.
I've got. Yeah, no worries. I've got The Traders We Are, first book in the Crown and Tide series. Revenge of Thousands, which can be read before Traders or after. That's a prequel novella. And then I've got A Grave for Us All, which is book 2 in that series. And then other than that, I just have a few short stories.
So your last book came out when?
Last year around this time.
And your next book comes out when?
Hoping that I'll have one release in 2025, which will be what I was talking to Mike about before the show started, which is my pizza story, which is a little bit different than what I've written before, less stabbing, more pizza making, but that should be, I think, kind of neat. I'm hoping we'll be out by the end of the year. And then final book in Crown Tide 3, Until Worms Remain, should be out sometime in 2026.
So does Mike owe you money or something? Is that why you're here? Did Mike owe you money?
No, I just like to, I don't have any friends. This is all I do.
Well,
Be on the show.
welcome.
Here.
You were amongst other friendless friends.
Oh,
There you
Mike,
go,
I feel bad for you. You don't have friends and you turn to Roe and I? Really?
That's scraping the bottom of the barrel right there, man.
I
I
mean,
do
I don't
feel
want to say
bad.
nice things about Dave Lawson or anything crazy like that, but you know.
We're we're gonna send the police over to do a health and welfare check on you.
Ooh.
Okay, I do have other friends, I guess, but I mean, like they're not as bald or balding.
Yeah. Alex
Which is
Schumerman
great.
wants the Crown and Tide pitch, and
Okay.
it is an awesome map. EL says it's an awesome map, and he's right.
Oh, thank you. I made that on Incarnate, which is $25 a year, and maybe one of the best buys I've ever done in my entire life. The Crown and Tide, it takes place in 8th, which is behind me, and you can see on this side the Kingdom of Harfall. And it's a war taking place between a minority that is both an ethnic and religious minority in the Aragon Reach, which is a peninsula over. You can't really see it, but basically, there's a civil war rebellion type thing happening where this group of tribes joins together to go against the crown. And at first, you think it's about one thing, which is just the freedom of this people. But then there's more moving pieces. There's people grasping for power. And it's set against the backdrop of the fact that in this world, when anybody dies, everything they've ever written down disappears. So, we're talking about books, signatures, treaties, and stuff like that.
Now this is the tattoo magic thing.
Yeah. So that can be part of it. And there's like a lot of weird loopholes. I get asked about that a lot. Like, for instance, if I paint a painting and I die, does the painting disappear? And the answer is no. But if you sign the painting, the signature would disappear. It's got to be written language.
Now, when you were here last year and you were discussing this, I think it's fair to say that as you were discussing it, I just had a light bulb go off.
Mm.
And I wrote a note, and it kind of set me writing a story that was not the series that I was actually involved in at the time. And the book that came out of that thought is now finished, and I'm doing the first edit of it, and I'm hoping it will be out later this year. So thank you for providing that little spark, and it went down various roads and also got me buying fountain pens. So I guess maybe not thank you so much on that count, but
Sure.
Cheers.
But yeah, I mean, it's a cool, it's one of those things you can do a lot with. There's a lot of ideas that could be tangentially related to it.
Mike, if I were you, I'd hold out for royalty share or something.
Oh,
Yeah,
I'm
you can hold out
confident
the
I'm aware.
royalty shares from me, man, but if the last 9 books are any indication, I'll just buy you a cheeseburger and we'll be done. Yeah, it's easier than killing them all the time, I guess, EL. So, I mean, how do they progress as a society if all the writing disappears?
So that's actually something that's going to be handled in other series a little bit more. As like, this is the first story in this world I set to pen, but it's not the first story I ever came up with in this world. So this is kind of practice for my bigger series. But they're kind of coming out of a end of a cataclysm. There's a thing called the Span of Ash that gets touched upon, where if you look at the volcano at that island right there, every so often it goes off, and in this case, creates like a dark age type thing where there's like a thin layer of ash around the world. So people, kind of finally came out of that, start building back up. And it's definitely like an arrested development type thing, like where some civilizations are kind of stuck. There's some forgotten technologies. And I don't want to spoil things too much, but we start seeing that a little bit more in book 2, especially towards the end of book 2, that the histories that we think we know, the way the world is not exactly what has been represented so far.
Okay, so two things. One is a real life thing. Did you read the story that was in the news the other day about this American YouTuber or something who went to this island off India that is forbidden for people to go to because there's a tribe there that knows nothing about anything and they want to stay that way?
Yep.
That's kind of crazy. Mike, you're giving me a blank look.
No,
Mike,
no, yeah. I mean, I know it's the Nicobar Islands you're talking about, but I didn't see the article.
Yeah. And the other question, I guess, following that line is, have you ever seen The Gods Must Be Crazy?
I think I've seen clips of it. I don't think I've seen the whole thing.
So,
You should probably watch that.
so Ro, I just want to warn you because I did see Mike when he was interviewed by Bill and Dewey, and they kept asking him, "What about this movie?" And if there's anyone who's seen less
Yeah.
movies than me, it's Mike. So you got two people who don't watch movies here with you. So
But you,
Yeah.
you laughed when I said the gods must be crazy, Mike
I've seen
Molman.
that.
So
It's old.
you have
I've
seen that.
Yeah, it's old. So
Yeah.
of course I've seen that one. Anything
Yeah.
from this century? No, most
It's
likely.
kind of a classic. This guy from one of these tribes gets kicked out of his tribe, and somebody throws a Coke bottle out of an airplane or something, I think, and it becomes like the hardest substance known to this tribe, and they start fighting over it. So they chuck him out of the tribe with the Coke bottle, and I guess he makes his way to civilization somewhere. It's been a long. I saw it in the '80s, so that tells you pretty much
Oh
everything
wow.
you need to know. Yeah, Reed. But Mike Molman doesn't get all the movie references, much less the pop movie references.
Oh, definitely not. Sadly, I have seen 10 Star Wars movies, and that's when I stopped. I don't know how many there are now, but thankfully I stopped. So,
Yeah, you saw about 7 too many.
yeah, exactly. Um, so Mike, let's start. You want to start with the silly questions, Ro?
No, I was going to ask him. It's like, so you do your own maps now, which I totally get. I bought a service very similar to Incarnate called, let me see if it's on my computer here. No, of course not. I forget what it's called, doesn't matter. To do my own simply because I ended up, spending several $100s on someone to do a map, and they did an absolute shite job. And it's kind of like you can only make that mistake so many times before it just gets prohibitively expensive, and so many times is once.
Yeah.
So how much stuff are you doing now for your books other than, I mean, are you doing it all in-house now, or do you still have to kind of get some stuff outside?
So I've actually I'm notorious for being sort of a tight wad when it comes to this because I really don't have the money to spend on it. I've got I'm a high school English teacher. I do driver's ed. My wife's school counselor. We've got 2 kids. So Traders actually launched with a free cover that I just threw together. And honestly, the only thing I do is I get the getcovers.com $35 covers for my books. And honestly, I mean, they've done well. And then Bill Adams, shout out, he edited a grave for me. But before that, I had edited my books myself with some feedback here and there from maybe a beta reader in Revenge of Thousands or 2 or 3. I think, Reed was one of my beta readers, as was Andrew Meredith. And I think I knew Bill at that point, but I'm not positive about that. And then Traders I did all myself. I couldn't find any beta readers. I couldn't find anything. Nobody was really interested in it as far as, helping me get started. And I queried it for a little bit, and I got a little bit of interest, but that was kind of like, you're going to wait years to get this book out. And at some point, you just got to do it yourself and just jump off the whatever.
You managed to get covers done for $35?
Yeah, getcovers.com.
It's called what now?
Getcovers.com.
$35.
So
35 to 50.
Yeah.
man, I thought I was doing good because the guy who does my Druid covers, he charges me $100 a cover.
That's not bad at all.
So, but yeah,
Not for original art.
Yeah.
But you just have to find artists who live in Poland, and then you can do that. I guess.
Ukraine in this case.
Yeah. Hey, there you go. So I was going to ask you about your covers, but now I guess that's still all my thunder, because I really do like the Traders We Are. I love that cover. That's a $35.
That's $35 cover. Yeah.
Wow. I always, it just has me gobsmacked when people are like, "Well, I spent $1,500 on this," and I'm like, "Yay, you! But are you nuts?"
Right. And I think, that's one of the things I think that I'm seeing a lot lately. And I agree to some extent is you want to put out the best product you can. But I also see people taking out, massive amounts of capital to do this, especially in the economy these days. I can't imagine going 5,000 in the hole and hoping that it pays out. You know what I mean? and I've done reasonably well. And I'm, mostly because I haven't spent a ton. But I would still be paying back. Like if I spent $5,000 on one of these books, I'd still be paying that back.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. I mean, it's difficult. I mean, what is it they say that most authors, traditional or indie, won't sell 300 copies of their book over their lifetime.
Right.
So, I mean, I think in a lot of ways we probably do better than we think, but it's not paying bills.
Right.
I always remind myself that Edgar Allan Poe, they think, ended up losing money on all the stuff that he had printed. So,
yeah, but he was doing heroin, wasn't he?
And he also married his nephew or niece. I mean, niece, I guess.
Yeah, 13-year-old Virginia Clem.
Yeah, but
English teacher.
If he ended up not making any money, then I don't feel bad. I mean, I'm not going to marry a 13-year-old niece, but I'm also not going to feel bad that my books are not going to be on a Netflix series anytime ever.
Well, I'm going to.
Okay, well, cool.
For all the good that would do. So EL brings up, this is a numbers game. You need a lot of at-bats. And this is a total aside, but this is what we do. There was an article today where there are two college teams playing a game of baseball. And the big story is that one of them will win because combined they are on an 0-141 run. One of the teams is like 0-43 and the other one's 0-99, going back like 6 years or some nonsense.
That's crazy.
Can you imagine that this statistically is the worst baseball game ever?
Nice. I mean, this is Stormtroopers versus Red Shirts here.
Oh my God, yeah, right. It really is. That's pretty bad. But one of them is going to be 1-something, so they'll be burning sofas on campus tonight.
So, Mike, did you watch Star Trek?
A little bit. I watched some of the original, and I watched some of the Next Generation when I was young, when it was out. And I think I've seen some of it recently. But I watched the movies. I watched the 3 movies that came out, and I like those a lot.
Which ones?
The ones with what's his face, Chris Pine.
Oh, those Star Trek, right? Yeah, those were actually pretty good.
Yeah.
As a reboot goes, they did really well with that. I thought their take on Khan was excellent.
Mm-hmm.
So, Ro, we just hit the lottery here because both Mike and I have seen those and we both like them.
Wow. Better go buy a ticket now.
But so I'm going to ask Ro's favorite question, which is, who is your least favorite starship captain in Star Trek?
So, unfortunately, I only know Picard and I'm blanking. What is his Shatner?
Kirk.
What's Shatner's? Kirk. Yes.
Kirk.
I gotta say I like Kirk. I think Kirk is my favorite. I think Picard. I like Picard a lot.
It's really not fair if you've only seen 2 of them.
So
yeah, but I'm gonna go with Kirk as my favorite. And the reason why is I just had to watch Patrick Stewart in Macbeth with my classes, and it was very weird. I'm not a super big fan of it. I'm gonna take away points from his portrayal of Picard.
So you're still inflicting Macbeth on high school students?
AP students for sure. We got to do our AP test May 7th.
Wow, you'd think they'd update that a little bit. I mean,
they did a little bit, which is nice. For a long time, you had to teach Shakespeare in every single grade level in North Carolina for English. Now, here's the crazy thing. I primarily taught English 3 for most of my career, and that's American literature. And for a long time, they wanted me to teach Shakespeare during American literature.
There's so much good. I mean, there is some good American literature. What do you make kids read American literature wise?
So, well, right now we're kind of in a transition. No, I don't do Moby Dick. Crucible is a big one, just because it's something that they usually get behind. It's very topical and stuff like that. I like Gatsby of Mice and Men. I'm trying to think of a few others, but those are like big 3 probably for me. Do a lot of Hemingway short stories, Fitzgerald short stories. but the designation of American slash British literature has kind of gone away. So you can kind of teach whatever you want as long as it's grade level appropriate into the standards. And I teach at a Title I school, so we just got a lot of money to buy new books. So I got like Radium Girls, which is nonfiction about the girls who were exposed to radium with the paint.
Oh, the making the watches, right?
Yeah. So we got that. Some Ishiguro books. We got Never Let Me Go and Clara and the Sun, Kindred by Octavia Butler. I do not do Scarlet Letter because I hate Scarlet Letter. Billy Budd, I don't think we own as a school. Scarlet Letter, that's one of those things. It's kind of like Moby Dick, where I think if the right teacher sells it, it can be good. But I'm not the right teacher for that. When I went to college, I primarily focused on modernist American literature and British Romanticism.
So Hunter S. Thompson's not making your list.
I'm intrigued, but it's also like you got to fit what you can within 18 weeks and stuff like that.
Well, Fear and Loathing is pretty quick.
Yeah, I mean, but it's also like about hitting the standards and making sure that you get exactly what you need. I'd also have to get the. I mean, that's a full book, correct?
Fear and Loathing Las Vegas, yeah. I mean, it's also a really good opportunity to say. Don't do
I mean, I would have to have them buy it for me. And true.
So, how about The Fellowship of the Ring? That has to be a classic by now.
We have The Hobbit, I think. I don't know if we have Fellowship, but we definitely have The Hobbit. Oh, okay. Cormac McCarthy, I tried to pitch The Road, and they thought it was too dark. And that's the thing, too, is like, especially in 2025, you have to remember everything that we read is going to get scrutinized. So, like, I've recently read Blood Meridian. There's no way that would get through without being challenged.
So when we interviewed Philip Chase, I told him that our teacher had got Grendel for us, written by John Gardner, Beowulf from Grendel's point of view. And I went to a Catholic school, and the principal read it, and he said, no, there are 2 swear words in this book, and those high school juniors, they don't know these words, so we have to send them all back.
No, it's you have to do a balancing line. The one that drives me crazy, speaking of Shakespeare, is people be like, oh, he wants to teach this. Why doesn't he teach something nice like Shakespeare? Shakespeare is some of the dirtiest stuff you ever want to read. You know what I'm saying? But like,
oh, it's like the what the hell is it? The whatever tale there, Canterbury Tales.
I do the Canterbury Tales, which is also really gross.
Yeah, it's pretty lewd.
But like they challenged Never Let Me Go on me one time, and I mean I'm not besmirching the parents or whatever. That you can and I always try to preface it like, if you don't think you or your parents want to read this, and it's high school seniors, please let me know. You don't have to read this. It's not an explicit book, but the dude won the Nobel Prize for Literature for it. Like, it's Kazuo Ishiguro. It's not like I found this book in a back alley somewhere and a guy just kind of handed it to me.
EL asked, do you have a fireplace in your garage? What the hell?
I think he's talking to you, Ro.
I don't understand where that question comes from.
Because you have nothing there except for a refrigerator in the background. He's saying this is a garage.
No, it's not a garage. It's someone's basement I rent, actually. It's very sad. There we go.
Okay. So what books do you teach that you really like, Mike?
So this year I'm really excited. We did The Last Kingdom by Bernard Cornwell, and that was my first time doing it. And that's for my AP class. We did it with Beowulf and Canterbury Tales as a look at the dichotomy between like Saxon and pre-Saxon paganism and Christianity, and how that kind of came in. And we actually, I had them make a shield wall. So they had to bring in cardboard. They made shields, and that we talked about. I taught them how to do a shield wall. But little did they know, the 10th graders next door, I talked to their teacher, and they had also made weapons, and they attacked us.
Oh, that is awesome. God, why couldn't I have had you as a teacher other than
no kidding, right?
Timeline.
I haven't read that book by Bernard Cornwell, but I've read the Sharp series, and those are fantastic.
I've heard those are good.
And
That's Napoleonic, right?
yeah. Taken from the point of view of Richard Sharp, who's a enlisted soldier, and he saves Wellington's life, and he's made a lieutenant or lieutenant, I guess. So then, of course, he's not a gentleman, so all the officers hate him, and he's, and the enlisted people hate him, and blah blah blah.
Yeah, I get you. I heard those are really good. I've got I'm still on book 6 or 7 of the Last Kingdom series. And I was thinking about checking those out, and maybe the other one where I think it might be a retelling of Arthur.
Okay.
Haven't read.
So, Mike, I have the most important question of the night.
No, you don't.
And if you don't answer correctly, Ro is going to laugh at me again. And I can only have that so many times. So I want you to picture you're traveling down the main road of your city.
Okay.
Now you can either be in a saddle riding a griffin above the road or a T-Rex on the road. Which one do you choose?
T-Rex.
Thank you. Thank you. You're allowed on this show anytime you want.
Yeah. Absolutely.
It's now like
Yay,
27 to 4. And EL, you're going to be on the show a lot until we get it, up to even.
Oh my God, he's going to be on like every show.
We might. Just
I like that there was no hesitation either. I mean, he just knew.
Oh, I know.
I
was even picturing myself that. I don't know if you guys probably don't have Biscuitville. I don't know if you guys have that in any state that's not North Carolina, but I'm getting that Biscuitville line, and I'm getting my biscuit with my T-Rex.
Nice.
We do not have Biscuitville.
See,
it's pretty good, dude.
I just see you looking for the kids that you taught how to drive and picking up their cars and throwing them.
You should pull up in a bump car one day. Let him get in that.
It might be a good idea.
How the hell does he go off the road? Often.
Well, so there are a few types of kids when it comes to driving and teaching kids to drive. It's almost like anything else. A lot of kids actually get behind the wheel and do pretty decent. But a friend of mine who recently retired told me, it was really good advice, is 1 out of every 10 kids is going to make you really earn that paycheck. And that's been about true. And I'll have really good periods of multiple kids. And all of a sudden, all 3 kids in the car can't drive. So partly it's nerves. That would be the biggest thing, I think. And usually the first day is the day that's bad. And then after that, it's fine. Sometimes it takes up to 3 days. But there's also weird things. One kid didn't realize they were night blind until we started driving at night, or have astigmatism in the headlights. It's just, the other one is they'll look down at their feet to make sure that they're hitting the gas and not the brake.
Mike,
wow.
I have the most important question is, you drive at night with 16-year-olds, 15-year-olds?
During the winter, yeah, because it gets dark so early. So right now, if I was going to drive right now, everybody would be driving in the light. But I usually drive between 3 to 6:15 or 4 to 7, depending on what school I'm at.
We used to take driver's ed. We would get there early to school, and we would do it before classes. And,
they used to actually have specific driver's ed teachers. Now it's you have to be a teacher of something else and then do it.
Yeah, our guy was specifically a driver's ed teacher. The Scandinavian Flick.
See, I don't know that one, but I mean, North Carolina. I mean, if you're up in the mountains, you might need it. But around here, we don't get a lot of snow.
So when we were young, of course, we had rear-wheel drive cars. We would go. Obviously, this was not condoned, and the driver's ed teacher didn't take us. Your older brothers would take you. Go to a shopping center parking lot on a Sunday because all the stores were closed.
Right.
And it was snowy, icy, and you would just do donuts in the parking lot. And that actually taught you how to control a skid really well and how to do donuts, which is also a lot of fun. But I mean, I can just imagine if you have kids looking down, you should pull up one day in a manual shift just to see what they do.
I'm gonna be honest, I've driven a manual shift twice, and not very well.
Just have it sitting there. Don't actually drive it anywhere. Just have them get in it and then see what they do.
I mean, they probably just be I mean, even our normal cars, some of these kids is have you guys ever actually seen a car? Like they're like, oh, like what do I do now? Turn it on, and they just keep pressing the button, like put your foot on the brake. No, harder. It's just
I
crazy.
think a lot of it, honestly, is because they're of a generation where they have had their face in an iPad or a screen in the back
Yeah.
seat, and they haven't been paying any attention to what's going on in the front seat. Even my
Mhm.
daughter, the other day, we were going somewhere, she goes, "Where is this?" It's like, if you spend any time looking around while we were driving all over the place the last 13 years, you would know where shit is.
Right. Absolutely.
Oh yeah, EL, you're right. I saw something a couple of months ago where they said of the X amount of cars that have been stolen in a particular area over a year, not one of them was a manual shift car. Not one. So that is the perfect security system for your vehicle now, is just to get a stick shift.
Oh. So, Mike, do they teach cursive in your school system?
I think they taught my son it. He's in third grade. I mean, so like for me, everything we do is on computers. So I'm never really worried about it. I don't really use cursive myself a whole lot, but my handwriting is awful.
Yeah. I just at one of the Comic Cons I was at, and the girl bought my book, and I autographed it, and she took it and she goes, "Oh my God, I always wanted someone who wrote in squiggles to sign their name." And I'm going, oh, God, will you go get my walker? I'll put my teeth in, and we can continue this conversation.
So I will say this, and I used to be like, oh, we don't need to do some of the stuff. Some people we really kind of missed the mark on some things that we didn't need. So for instance, I don't know, you guys probably did sentence diagramming.
Oh, yeah.
You know what I'm talking about? Yeah.
Yep.
They don't do that a whole lot anymore.
No.
And because of that, the writing has gotten a lot worse when it's like I try to explain to you subject and predicate and stuff like that. They don't understand what any of that stuff is. They don't understand dangling modifiers and things of that nature. And so a lot of times with my seniors, I will show them how to work subject, predicate, and then the two objects or whatever. And then like, other sentences and how to combine the sentences if they don't have it by that point. But it's wild. And I mean, I always tell them, I'm like, it could get really complicated and you're not going to need to do what I did at college. Because like you'd have these massive diagrams that took up a whole page. But like we really are missing something when it comes to some of that stuff because we're all assuming that they know these things. Same thing with like typing is everybody thinks that kids can type and they can't because they use iPads.
I just want to say that you could dangle a modifier in front of my face, and despite having a master's in English, I would not know what it was. I might know what it was, but I wouldn't know it was called a dangling modifier.
No, I get you. I mean, sometimes though, it's not about knowing what they're called, but how to fix it. You know what I mean? You probably know how to fix it without calling it that.
All right, I'll buy that. That makes me feel a little better.
Oh. Okay, so Michael, I have to ask you a silly question because we haven't done that enough.
We're contractually obligated.
Of all the characters in your books, which one is most likely to inadvertently start a cult?
Oh my goodness. Oh, easy. Orden Oberlin. Yeah, that's the dad of Kale and Merrily. He's in chapter 1 of Traders, and if you read that, you'll know what I'm talking about.
Okay. And
So
no, go ahead.
So your next book, you're doing kind of a lit RPG.
Sort of, yeah.
So I think we were talking about this before we came on. Right? It hasn't been since we've been on, right?
I don't think so.
Yeah. So can you kind of describe that? Because it was kind of interesting what you were going on about. And I was in the other room on mute, so I couldn't ask you anything about it then. So what's that story about?
Sure. So it's kind of like a Scott Pilgrim-y video game world where there's a little bit of video game rules in effect. It starts with a main character who's studying to get into the university. I think instead of doing the SATs, it's like the ABMs or something like that, where it's like the something standardized achievement battle royale or something like that. Anyway, his grandpa, who owns a pizzeria, dies, and he had spent all the summers with his grandpa, and he didn't get to spend that one because he's studying for the test. He decides to go to that town and open up the pizzeria. but like it's kind of a mixture of like kind of cozy. You know, I read Legends and Lattes and Bookshops and Bone Dust and really like those. And then I've always been a fan of like Paperboy and other games like that. And I remember I was watching my son play a mobile game where he's running a hotel and people give him money and he fixes up rooms. So I'm kind of creating like systems like I've heard of lit RPGs have. And one of the things is like, for instance, the pizzeria starts as abandoned, so he has to fix it up. And unfortunately, as buildings deteriorate in quality, things happen. Like, for instance, there's now monsters in the pizzeria, and it goes the quality of the building so far that I've described go from kept to unkept to abandoned to haunted. And most of the pizzeria is abandoned except for the bathroom, which is haunted and has worse hazards and enemies, and he ends up having to fight a poop golem.
That's a little gross, but I think you're going to find your mark with that.
Yeah, it's very gross. In fact, like I kind of gagged a little bit when I was writing it. It's really bad. This is like the dumbest thing in the entire world.
Did you have to check yourself from going overboard with it, or do you just like really lean into it?
I never check myself in anything. You can ask my friends that I.
So you went full Baby Ruth on it.
I go all the time. There's only Baby Ruth.
Okay. So
I literally do not think before I say things.
I have not read a lit RPG, but I know that some of them involve like leveling up and all that kind of nonsense. How do you work that into the prose of a story that he's gotten better or leveled up?
So in this case, I'm trying to do light lit RPG. I've not read a full one, but I've read bits and pieces of them, and I'm planning on trying to go through a few of the dungeon crawler carls to see how that goes. But I'm actually basing it more on like Stardew Valley or Harvest Moon. The same setup. The grandpa leaves you something in disrepair, you fix it up, and in this case, he does get experience as he does things. But for instance, when he feels like his skin tingles when he gets experience, but when he defeats the poop golem, he's not sure if it's the experience or the fact that he just defeated a poop golem that's making his skin tingle.
So, Mike, I'll just give you a word of warning. If you read Dungeon Crawler Carl, you're going to end up reading all 6 of them
that's what I've heard.
Short amount of time.
And I kind of need that in my life, if I'm being honest.
I mean, they're great. Do the audio. Oh my God, do the audio.
Okay.
And I'll give you if you don't have time for all that, Darktown by Palmer Pickering is a lit RPG. Highly recommended. I'm not the biggest lit RPG, but I like Dungeon Crawler Carl, and I like anything that Palmer Pickering writes is.
Yeah, I have Heliotrope, and I've been meaning to get to it for forever.
I'll never read that, but it's my rule is if it's over 500 pages, I won't read it. But I'm sure it's very good.
Yeah.
Mike, Michael mentioned Scott Pilgrim at the beginning of his explanation. Do you know what he's talking about? Yeah, I didn't think you.
Oh man, okay. I'm gonna tell you about this real quick. So Scott Pilgrim came out when I was in college, and that was the absolute perfect time for that to come out.
It's a movie, Mike.
Dude, he's a loser that lives in Canada. He lives with his gay roommate, and they share a bed. It's so weird. It's a graphic novel, and like he starts dating this girl, but to date her, he has to fight her 7 evil exes. And like there's like really dumb things like combos and stuff like that, and like robots and weird stuff. It's just like it's so bizarre but so good.
It actually is pretty good. Scott Pilgrim saves the world. That's what you're looking for, Mike.
Okay.
Wu-Tang, no.
Okay.
I don't know.
It's been a while since I worked at it. It's the Wu-Tang Clan, aka the musical version of Lola Wraith Press.
Okay.
And what were you going to bring up with it?
I just like them a lot.
Oh, okay.
And I don't know what Battle Spire is either, but that should shock no one by now.
Right. If there are books written about things we don't know. Libraries filled. Do your students know that you write?
Yeah, I don't really advertise it, and it's kind of one of those things like I don't know how to describe this exactly, but I don't like the captive audience of my classroom, and I don't think it's good to promote yourself.
No, absolutely not. I'm just wondering if being kids, if they Googled you and figured it out.
So the reason that they know more than anything is like my school bought Trader's Engrave in hardcover for the library. I didn't ask them to do it, and I signed it, and they think that's really cool. And then it just like, I mean, sometimes it comes up or like somebody knows about it, but like the reason that a lot of the school knew about it was, I'm friends with some of the other teachers on social media, and one of the ladies bought it and just showed everybody because she's so excited. And I just like, I'm not really good at doing it in real life. It's not the same as the internet or talking to people in the book world about it. And this gonna sound weird because like I'm pretty out in the open with this. I'm pretty out in the open on Twitter and stuff. But like I'm a pretty shy guy. I don't like really. I'm very introverted. Like I don't really like approaching people and talking to them.
What grade do you teach?
12th grade.
Well, you know what you should do is get them each a copy of your book as a graduation present so that they have something to read over that summer before college.
And how to betray their friends.
And that way it's a gift, right? And you're seeing them on their way. And if they get the next one, so much better.
You know what you should do, Mike? This is
It's not listen to Mike and Rob.
You need to give out a copy of your book to your students. Say, yeah, you inspired one of my characters, and then hand them the book.
Figure it
out.
And
then have them read it and try to figure out which one. And of course, you wrote it before you knew them. This is what you should do.
See, I was trying to be nice. You are trying to be devious.
Well, yeah, I mean, they're kids. What else? Man. Why would you not be devious to them?
Usually they're like way more interested. But yeah, they usually want to find the name of my punk band more than the book thing.
Your punk band?
Yeah, I was in a punk band when I was in high school and like in my early 20s.
And what's the name of this band?
We were called Maury after Maury Povich. It's not really available online. I kind of scrubbed it when I became a teacher.
Oh, that's a shame.
Okay, so Mike, my next question for you is I want you to pick one of your characters, and this is not the Bald Dome yet, but imagine that. Okay, who's your character that you've chosen?
I'm gonna go with Kale.
Okay. So, how's Kale generally? Is he a good friend to have? Do you just never want to show him your back? What's he like?
He's kind of a butthole. Like he the first book, he's starts off kind of he's just kind of depressive, angry. He kills a lot of people in war, but he progresses quite a bit.
So, I want you to imagine that you and Kale walk into a Walmart together, and you turn to go get a basket, and when you turn around, he's gone. Where has he gone, and what is he doing?
I honestly have no idea, and I'm a little bit scared. He's probably mad about something. I'll tell you that right now. Probably like the consumerism or like how people are like not thankful for what they have and the babies who are like asking for toys and stuff. He's just probably all over the place, just not being happy.
Okay. I mean, I like him. This sounds like, my type of person.
Hopefully he doesn't get in line at the pharmacy.
I was just thinking that if he's in line at the pharmacy, people are dying.
Yeah. I like him.
Yeah, there's too many people. So
can't wait to see what he does in the Bald Dome, Mike.
Yeah, I know. Well, I want to ask you, what's the hardest part for you about writing a book?
That's a good question. I think other than time, because having the 2 jobs and the kids has been really rough the last couple of years. Because when I read Traders was before I got into doing driver's ed, and that was also around the time COVID was happening. So like I had a full day where everybody was remote, and like if the kids showed up, great, I would teach them on the screen, and if they didn't show up, I'd wait to see if they did show up. So I would be writing or whatever in the background while I waited. So time is a big one. Self-doubt is another one. Like with Traders, I just wanted to see if I could write a book, and I wasn't really convinced even most of the way through that I could. Though, oddly enough, the thing that inspired me was the Wu-Tang Clan TV show, An American Saga, where they decided that they are going to do their own thing that nobody's ever done before, and they're just going to do it. So I was like, okay, I'm just going to do this. I'm like the Wu-Tang Clan. When it came to Grave was more like, can I write a book well? And I really wanted to write a book well, and I think I accomplished that. I don't think I've hit everything I want to hit yet. But with worms, the next thing I want to do is I want to see if I can kind of hit the heights of like really, really good final character arcs. Like I'm thinking of Vinland Saga. I've like really been into like some of the manga lately when it comes to that type of stuff, like Vagabond, where it's not necessarily about grimdark killing, but it's about where do we go from here and what is left for us after everything else is gone.
Okay, are we ready for the Bald Dome? Mike, are you ready for the Bald Dome?
Oh, I'm ready.
Okay,
give me a number 1 to 20 there, Michael.
17.
Nope, not 17. We had that last time.
Oh, okay. 5.
Okay, 5 hasn't been used yet.
So you have to pick out one of your main characters. And what we're going to do is we want to learn more about them without you giving us spoilers. So I'm going to roll a bunch of dice, and this person is going to be transported somewhere else that is not part of your world, but all the rules of your world will still be true. And then they will have they'll get a vial of a fuzzy liquid. What is your favorite color?
Red.
Red. So they will have a red fuzzy potion. They do not know what it does, but it is 100% effective whether they use it or if they use it on their adversary. 100% it will work, but they don't know what it is. And then they will get their choice.
Okay.
They will either get a common item or they will get a weapon. If they choose the common item, they will face a common animal. If they choose a weapon, they will face a fantasy creature. And I will set the scene, and then I'll say go, and you tell us how this plays out. And you tell us the story so we can learn about your character and facing something that doesn't exist in your book. So here goes. Ro, you will be shocked. I rolled a 1.
I am not at all shocked.
If I have to roll for something happens, I usually don't roll above a 6 on a 20-sided die, so it will go very badly for you. So you don't want to ask.
Can you give me a D6 though, Mike?
I can. Give me a second. 3. So who is being transported here, Michael?
I kind of want to go a different direction with it because I feel like Kale would be too easy. I'm going to go with Emil, the nephew of the king, and maybe the greatest warrior ever.
Okay, well, Emil has been transported to a forgotten temple hidden deep within a dense jungle. He has a red fizzy potion that only Ro knows what it does, and it's number 5 on his list if you're like keeping notes for when it's your turn. And now he gets a choice. He can have a regular item or he can choose a weapon. He
wants the weapon.
Okay.
100%.
If he would have chosen regular item, he would have got an emerald necklace.
But
he chose a weapon, so he is pretty well working here for him. He's getting a battle axe.
Okay.
And now instead of facing,
I was going to make a spouse joke, but I won't.
Instead of facing a coyote with that emerald necklace, he has his battle axe, and he is facing a venomous manicore.
I'm going to be honest. Both of these would be equally as bad for him.
And for those who may not know, manicore, it is body of a lion, wings of a bat, and a tail with poisonous spines. So, in this forgotten temple hidden deep within the dense jungle, he's doing his own Indiana Jones. He's trying to get that gold-headed bust. And then, just as he grabs it, he turns to his left, and lo and behold, the guardian of said golden bust is the manicore, and it's just risen to its feet. What happens next?
Emil immediately pees his pants.
Interesting reaction that we haven't seen before.
Yeah, he actually will probably give one of these, like where he's like looking at the statue, looking at the manicore, looking at the battle axe, looking at the manicore, looking at the thing. He's probably wondering where his faithful scribe Sheldon is, but I'm assuming he can't come with him.
No.
So here's what he's going to do.
Tell you what,
he's going to talk himself up.
So if you want Galliford to be there, Galliford can be there with him.
Galliford is very similar to Sheldon, so that'll be perfect.
Okay, well then Sheldon is there. Sheldon is here documenting the whole thing for posterity.
So he's probably going to ask Sheldon what it is. Sheldon is probably going to shrug, and Emil is going to say that, he is from a line of kings and conquerors, and they could do stuff like this. So he can do stuff like this for sure. And he's going to freeze in place with his axe like this and kind of see what the Manicore does.
Okay, Ro, do you want me to roll, or are you going to tell us what happens?
Go ahead, Mike.
Okay.
I want to see where this. I just want to sit back and watch this now.
A 6, but since Mike and I don't play D&D, you have to interpret.
Would you roll a 6 on a 20?
Yes, always a 20.
Well, that's not good.
Well, it depends what you were rolling for.
What happens next? With his frozen axe on his shoulder, the Manicore is looking at them. So that this is what does a Manicore do? I rolled a 6.
Well, I think you need to frame your question better.
When I've played D&D, I mean, Mike has played D&D before, once.
But I would say, first of all, the Manicore is just going to give the air a healthy sniff, because if you wet yourself, that will certainly make him wonder what's wrong with you, and he will smell the fear. And then there's no reason for him to lunge at you, so he'll take a walk towards you. Now, he has like a scorpion tail, right?
Right.
Yeah.
I believe so.
So he doesn't really need to get that close to you. I
EL is
think,
trying to kill him.
yeah, I think he's. Go ahead.
Emil is going to hand the axe to Sheldon and like kind of pat him on the back and then drink the potion.
Okay, he drinks the potion, and his arms go out to the side, and his skin elongates, and he now has a big pair of skin wings.
This is not helping him, okay?
But he can fly.
Oh no, I mean he probably is aware that he can fly, but this is not what he wanted. Okay, he's gonna try to fly away.
Are they inside a building, Mike?
It is a forgotten temple hidden deep within a dense jungle. That's all ChatGPT gave me.
It does not matter. He's gonna try to fly away.
Okay.
Hey, Ro, guess what I rolled?
A 1.
A 1.
So he trips over something as he's trying to launch himself and falls on his face. Don't let Mike roll for you, Michael, ever.
He's gonna say, Sheldon, get him. I'm incapacitated, Sheldon.
You're not. You just fell.
No, he's incapacitated.
Oh.
If you read chapter 2 of Traders, you'll understand.
All right. Yeah, the Manicore, I think, is more surprised than anything by this. So I will give you another turn, I guess, as the Manicore just is stunned by disbelief.
I have a question. Where's the axe now after he's fallen?
Sheldon's got it.
Oh,
Yeah, he had given the axe away.
Oh, okay. Okay, good. I'm glad the scribe has an axe. Okay, he's laying on the ground. He's looking up at the Manicore that's going, what the hell is going on here?
Pretty much. The Manicore, EL, the Manicore has good dramatic timing.
Okay, so question. Manicore has wings, if I'm correct, right?
It does.
Yes.
Emil is going to look it dead in the eyes and say, I'm just like you.
Ooh, I'll roll.
Sure.
Twice as good as last time.
A 2. A 2.
A 2.
Okay, so the big old barbed poisonous thing on his tail comes down and just misses you.
All right. Emil is going to try to rally himself. He is embarrassed. He is very wet. And he's going to say, Sheldon, hand me the axe.
He has
I'm
wings.
assuming Sheldon probably hands it back. Huh?
He has wings.
He doesn't have hands on the end of the wings like a little batty bat?
Sure, why not?
But
I was going to say, the next thing
Manicore
he's going to say is
has
put it in
wings,
my... Yeah. I was going to say put it in his mouth, like Zorro from One Piece or something. All right. He is going to try to hit it with an axe.
I'm glad I know that reference. It makes it funnier.
Okay. Do you want me to roll again? I mean, I'm
This
getting
is
steadily better.
an axe attack.
This is actually perfect.
Ooh, a 14.
How strong is this guy?
Not at all.
Oh, that is so on the cusp of making it, but go ahead, it hits him. So he gets a glancing blow in, I guess.
He's feeling more confident now.
Okay.
The Manicore laughs. I like that, EL. I don't know what a Manicore laugh would sound like, but I imagine it would be frightening.
Okay. The Manicore's taken aback because, he just thought he was going to wet himself again. So, what does he do now? Another swing? Push Sheldon down and run for it? What does he do?
Oh, that's a good idea. Hold on. Wait a second. Actually, I just realized.
Mike, give me a
Here's
roll
the
of
problem.
more than a 15, Mike.
17.
Yeah, okay. So while you're trying to figure out what you're going to do, the Manicore takes his wings and just pushes them forward real quick and kind of pushes you back on your ass about 10 feet.
Okay, fair enough. I was not going to sacrifice Sheldon because then who would tell the tale of my mighty deeds?
Good
So
call.
I am going to say, Sheldon, make a distraction. And hopefully he makes one. And then I'm going to fly and try to hit it with the axe again.
Okay, roll a 12 or better for the distraction to work.
14.
Okay,
Distraction works.
now roll a combat, I guess.
Okay. 12.
Swing and a miss. So close, though. So close.
Mm-hmm.
So that should put you within arm's reach of the Manticore now. So I guess 13 or better for the Manticore, Mike?
12.
You're the luckiest person ever. So you guys are just basically whiffing each other. You're doing this.
Mm-hmm. This actually is really on brand.
You have like the most far-sighted Manticore ever. You're just a blur to him right now. He doesn't know what's going on. So what are you
Okay.
gonna do?
I'm gonna stop and see if he also stops, and I'm just gonna back away slowly and see what he does.
Mike, for God's sake, give me something better than a 15.
5.
Oh. Take a swing with a beak swing.
3.
The Manticore does that, but doesn't come close to you. He's lucky his teeth didn't fall out.
Hit it again. I need 20, Mike. Give me 20.
6.
Oh my God.
Yeah, it's probably
All
good
right.
that I don't play D&D.
Mike, please give me one high roll for the Manticore.
And nope, 6 again.
Okay. He swings and misses, and he just sits down. He just sits on his back haunches.
Oh,
And
Emil's also gonna sit down.
It's a draw.
Yeah.
I don't know much about Manticores. Do they have any magic ability at all?
No.
Really? Nothing?
No.
Does your character have any magical ability?
Heck no.
I think they just called a day and called a draw.
I think so too.
Does your scribe have like a tea set or something that he can set out for the pair of you?
He actually would, yeah.
This Manticore would actually have tea with you right now.
Okay.
Because
they all
basically
have tea.
he's just embarrassed and he doesn't want to get this story out. So he will reach over and shred any paper or anything that your dude has.
Fair trade. And also, they're all agreeing that Emil did not pee himself, that he spilled some tea.
That's right, yeah. And the Manticore says, sure, that's fair.
Yeah, spilled some brown tea. Yeah, sure.
Yeah, this was the weirdest thing ever, Michael. God dang, man, learn how to roll a die.
So there we go. We've never had a bald dome quite like that before, Mike. So
I hope not.
I mean, from peeing himself to ending with tea, I think that was just that's brilliant, really.
oh, so
I can't wait to read about that in one of
I
your
was going to
books.
say this has to make it into a short story or something, Mike.
Yeah, absolutely.
It definitely it's something.
I don't know if you saw, but when James, Maxie, and I were at the Comic Con and we were getting punch drunk after 27 hours of trying to sell books, and that's when we came up with the Little Sword Dinosaur. We want this to be somebody to write this story and have a T-Rex with a human-sized broadsword and a human-sized shield in its hands. And I want this story written, and I will be the first customer.
I could make that happen for you.
What is a T-Rex going to First of all, it's
exactly.
It
And then you
can't-
give him a little sword and a little shield that does absolutely nothing.
oh yeah, that's like the most pointless thing ever.
Yes. And now you have to find some way to make the sword and the
like-
shield useful in the story.
Rowing the Titanic with a toothpick.
So anyway, if that happens, I will be your first customer, Mike. If you write that story, I will beta read it, I will alpha read it, you name it. I'm here for it.
You know what? In my pizza story, there's going to be an arcade, and I was going to have one of the games was going to be a Crown and Tide video game, but maybe another one is Sword T-Rex, and I might have to make that part of it.
There you go.
Oh,
All right, so
great.
remind everybody what books they can find of yours right now out there in the world.
Sure. The Crown and Tide series right now is The Traitors We Are. That's book 1. The Revenge of Thousands, which is the prequel novella, and then A Grave for Saul, which is book 2, which came out last year.
All right,
And
and do you
book
have a
3?
website?
Oh, sorry.
Right now, you can best find me at www.willowwraithpress.com with my other Willow Wraith friends, the Wu-Tang Clan of Indie Publishing.
Okay. And what is the third book in the series called? Do you have a title for it?
Yeah, it's Until Worms Remain.
Nice. You have the best titles.
Thank you.
Oh my God. Willow Wraith Press. There you go. Let's see. So, Michael, is there anything else that we should have asked you instead of the nonsense that we did?
No, I think we had a fun time. Look out for Pizza Story. Speaking of like great titles, I try to come up with good titles, but right now all I've got is Pizza Story for that one. So if you guys have any ideas for a video game themed pizza book, let me know.
Oh, I do have a question for you I need to ask, and I've thought of it like 3 times and forgotten it. Hawaiian pizza, where do you stand?
Firmly against, with all my Italian brethren.
Never again are you on this show. You're dead to me.
No, you're welcome here all the time.
It's my favorite.
You're good.
I mean, I see the appeal, and some of my family members like it. I mean, we're not like that Italian, but I'm not a big pineapple guy unless it's very, very small pieces. And it's always a lot of pineapple, and it's always big pieces of pineapple. And the ham is also kind of sweet. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
I like it on Al Pastor tacos. That's about it.
Okay. I mean, I like pineapple just about any way you serve
I can't do it.
Oh. I went through a week. I made peanut butter and pineapple jelly sandwiches. Oh my God, it's great. I mean, it costs an arm and a leg
That's
to get
disgusting.
the pineapple jelly. But, it's phenomenal. Highly recommend it.
Ugh.
It's actually cheaper for me to make my own by buying the pineapple and pureeing it and everything. But yeah, highly recommend it. It's wonderful. But then I'm team pineapple, so there you go.
Yeah, fair enough.
So many questions answered. All right.
Okay.
Well, thank you, Michael, and thank you all, the rest of you folks, for coming and hanging out with us for this ludicrous hour. We are back again. When are we back again? Day after tomorrow. So Thursday with Travis Seivert.
Travis I. Seivert. It's a palindrome.
Oh, wow.
Is it?
It is.
Why?
Because Travis I. Seivert is spelled is the same.
Yeah, I know why it's a palindrome.
Okay.
Never mind.
That is his.
Okay.
That is his pen name, and
All
I
right,
met
fair enough.
him, and he told me that he's on Twitch, and he has people who log on to watch him type when he's typing his books.
That's the
And
weirdest thing ever.
I'm just ever since I was like, I don't understand. Brain does not compute this. So we're going to ask him about it Thursday. So there you go.
Right, so join us at 7 to talk to Travis I. Seibert. Travis I. Seibert.
There you go.
Coming or
Mike,
going.
thanks for hanging out with us. If you're silly enough to do it again, we'll always have you back. But we understand if you wise up too.
I'm never gonna wise up. I
He
never
keeps
learn from my
he keeps
mistakes.
putting kids in a car. So
Yeah, dude. Like I've been teaching high school for 13 years. I have never learned from my mistakes.
So one last question I just thought of: when your kids are old enough to drive, are you going to teach them?
But my son wants me to, and I think it's different when it's your kids versus like kind of like coaching kids in soccer and stuff like that. Um, I don't know, like it almost reminded me and my dad's relationship when I was a kid. But I mean, I don't know, it just we'll see how it goes, play it by ear. But I'm not looking forward to that.
I will tell you that I had to go with both my parents, and I don't know which one was worse. And I was never so relieved as when I got my temps, and I was like, no, I'm good. I would go with my brothers, and that was fine. But my parents were the worst because they were like expecting, to fall into a ditch.
Oh yeah.
And if I went above 20, it was easy on the gas there, Mike. So, okay, well, sir, thank you for this. Appreciate you being here, and I can't wait to hear later exploits of Emil, the great adventure.
We'll see what happens. I mean, he's got a lot of interesting things going on.
Okay, so thank you, sir. It's time to wave awkwardly, and we're
thanks,
going to call it a
everybody.
night.